Shabbat Shalom from Temple Concord. This week we learn all about Joseph and his colorful jacket. I'm standing in my study, but I'm wearing a talit that was actually my bar mitzvah talit. One of my older sisters brought it back from Israel just before my bar mitzvah. And I've always loved it, not just because of the colors, but because of the memories of that day. Joseph got that multicolored jacket, and I'm not sure if he ever loved it or not. I think he may have liked it, but he knew that he was getting something his brothers weren't getting. And that was a real challenge. As it happened for me, my older brother had also a very colorful talit, and so in our family that was the pattern. And so when I look at this colorful talit today, and I still wear it from time to time, I think of the equality that my family had that Joseph's family didn't have. Now, it's not to say that I didn't think that my parents played favorites, because from time to time we all think that about our parents. And Mom, if you're watching this, yes, I know from time to time you probably did play favorites, but that's all right. I forgive you. At any rate, Joseph teaches us a really important lesson. That we can't control what our parents are going to do in terms of how they raise us, but we can control how we respond. And one of the things that Joseph does is he allows the favoritism to get to his head. And it's not that he lords it over the others, it's that he doesn't think through how the brother is going to react to this. And that becomes a real challenge for how we live our lives. Do we take what's given to us and just react to it, or do we think of how this may respond in somebody else's ears or somebody else's eyes, and how another may react to the whole thing? And that's actually the really important lesson of Joseph. It's to think of the other, to not always be so self-centered. And even if you think you're right and you're convinced you're right, as Joseph was, there comes a point where you've got to have a little rahmanas, you've got to have a little mercy and care for the others, because otherwise we end up having a whole mess of a situation, which Joseph knew all too well. So this Shabbat, I hope you'll find your most colorful clothing and wear it to Shabbat services. Our services Friday evening will be at 6 o'clock here at the temple. Saturday morning, of course, at 11, preceded by Torah study at 10 and text study at 9. And Hanukkah starts next Tuesday evening, the 16th, and we're going to begin with a wonderful adult education program that the Syracuse Rabbinical Council is doing jointly. We'll be honoring the end of Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for the 4 rabbis who were murdered in Israel. And one of the customs at the end of Shloshim is to study in honor of the deceased. So the rabbis have agreed to come together and to heed the call of the 4 widows for Jewish unity. And we're going to have 2 hours of adult learning, team taught. So we'll be doing this parallel to the Epstein School Tuesday evening at 6:30 at Temple Adif. The first hour, Rabbis Shore and Sherman and Beagle will be teaching together. The second hour, Rabbis Jazer and Pepperstone and I will be teaching together. And we'll be coming together to share Torah and to share learning with each other, recognizing that collectively we have real value, and that the Jewish people is a people who comes together. We may have differences here and there, but we are not like Joseph and his brothers, where one is separate and treated unequal. Rather, we are a unified body who strives for equality. And so we'll be studying together and learning together that evening, and I hope you can join us. We also have many wonderful events for Hanukkah here at the temple, most notably the Hanukkah dinner, which will be next Friday evening at the temple. We have services at 6, and the dinner will take place afterwards. And if you want to help us get ready, there are still a few spots available to be a part of the Latke Brigade this coming Sunday. We'll be meeting in the temple kitchen at 9:30 to fry up the latkes. Believe it or not, the smell has already dissipated from this last week, so maybe, just maybe, we're hit upon a Hanukkah miracle after all, and there's a way to make latkes without smelling like them for 2 months. For now, though, I wish you a Shabbat of color, a Shabbat of joy, a Shabbat of equality, where all are treated the same, and these colors are a sign of the equality of all humanity, that they are not one group being singled out above the other, as with Joseph, but rather are a sign of pride in the equality of all. Shabbat Shalom for now. Look forward to seeing you at the temple.